Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Henry, a professional psychologist. I hope you will be fine. Today we will talk about what is displacement in psychology, sign, type, and how it impacts humans. Let's start today's topic. Displacement is a psychological defense mechanism in which a person redirects a negative emotion from its original source to a less threatening recipient. A classic example of the defense is displaced aggression. If a person is angry but cannot direct their anger toward the source without consequences, they might take out their anger on a person or thing that poses less of a risk. Signs of displacement. Defense mechanisms are very common and are usually a normal aspect of daily functioning. Displacement as a defense helps us channel emotions and urges that could be considered inappropriate or harmful to more healthy, safe, or productive outlets. When used appropriately, defenses such as displacement protect us from negative feelings, help minimize disappointment, protect our self-esteem, and manage stress levels. Displacement can protect us from anxiety by hiding things that are stressful or unacceptable to us and helping to preserve our sense of self. Age. Young children are more direct about expressing their feelings. Therefore, they are more likely to express their negative emotions toward the original target, regardless of the appropriateness of the response. For example, a 4-year-old child is likely to simply yell at a parent when they are upset. On the other hand, a 14-year-old might displace their frustration with a parent by fighting with a younger sibling. Intensity. Highly upsetting urges or feelings might result in greater displays of emotion toward the substitute target. For example, an inappropriate urge, such as the desire to hit someone, might be expressed as a highly charged emotional outburst, such as yelling at a spouse. Frequency. Most people have experienced taking out their negative emotions on a secondary target. While displacement can be a normal response, it can cross the line into maladaptive or even abusive behavior. If a person relies on displacement as a defense mechanism to deal with all of their emotional upset, it is less likely to be helpful and may cause harm. Types of displacement. Displacement can manifest in a couple of different forms. It can be displayed as anger toward a less threatening target, or it can occur in a more adaptive form known as sublimation. Sigmund Freud believed that sublimation served as an important source of creativity and inspiration. Sublimation involves displacing unacceptable sexual urges toward non-sexual activities that are productive and socially acceptable, like work and creativity. Sublimating provides a constructive outlet for unacceptable urges. Impact of displacement. Displacement can lead to unintended consequences and even chain reactions. Inappropriate expressions of emotion. Displaced emotions are often extreme and out of proportion. Cycles of anger and negativity. Displaced aggression, for example, can become a cycle. Imagine an employee who is angry with their boss. They take out their anger on their spouse when they get home. Now angry at themselves, the spouse might be irritable with their children. In turn, the kids might take their frustrations out on each other. Relationship problems. Because loved ones are often the targets of displacement, feelings of resentment and conflict can undermine the health and stability of the relationship. Prejudice. Displaced interpersonal aggression can also cause prejudice against specific social groups. For example, some scholars have argued that the Germans' animosity toward the Jewish people following World War I may have been an example of displaced feelings of anger over the economic ramifications of the war. Scapegoating. In the previous example, people redirected their rage toward a group of people they deemed to be less threatening targets rather than directing their collective anger toward their actions or their government. This phenomenon is also known as scapegoating. Research on the validity of displacement has been mixed. For example, one older study suggested that empirical evidence poorly supports displacement. However, later research supported the theory that physical and emotional arousal states tend to carry over from one situation to the next. For example, while you might restrain yourself in a social setting because reacting would be inappropriate, pushing your feelings down won't make them go away. Your emotional state will stay the same. Later on, you might find yourself in a setting where you can react with fewer consequences, at which time you will unleash the feelings you suppressed. Other studies have also offered broad support for defense mechanisms, including displacement, as being important to human health and relationships. Looking at data from a 70-year longitudinal study, a group of researchers found that psychological defense mechanisms might influence the body as well as the mind. Participants who used adaptive defense mechanisms, including displacement, at midlife had better physical health later in life. Mature defenses, such as sublimation, may play a key role in creating solid and supportive social relationships, contributing to improved physical health. How to deal with displacement? Over-reliance on displacement or any other defense mechanism can be ineffective or even problematic. If you are concerned about your use of displacement as a defense mechanism, it's something you can address with a therapist or counselor as part of psychotherapy. It can be helpful to look at your own behavior to get a better sense of whether you use displacement in a helpful way. Assess. One of the first steps is also one of the more difficult, observing your behavior and actions and determining whether displacement could be causing them. Displacement is not something that can be easily viewed. Often, it's only possible to make inferences based on what you can examine of your own behavior. At this stage, it can be helpful to work with a therapist. They can look at your behavior from an outside point of view and help you see things from a more objective perspective. A therapist is able to witness and point out contradictions between your behavior and your words, body language, or other signals. For example, you might tell your therapist that you do not mind that your spouse works late nights and weekends, but your body language and your speech might suggest otherwise. As you share more about your behavior, it might become clear that when you are short-tempered with your kids in the evening, it's really a sign of the frustration you feel with your spouse. Reflect. Reflection is a strategy therapists can use to help you recognize when you are using defense mechanisms like displacement. With this strategy, your therapist reflects your feelings back to you in a way that encourages you to consider what you have done or said. The goal of using the reflection technique is to reveal concealed worries or concerns that played a role in your behavior. For example, as you are telling your therapist about expressing anger at a coworker, you might reveal one of your underlying worries, that your new manager does not recognize your talents and efforts. Rather than expressing your emotions to your boss, a threatening target, you took your frustration out on your coworker, a less threatening target. Reframe. Once you start to recognize episodes of unhealthy displacement in your own life, the next step is to look for purposeful ways to alter your thinking and behavior. For example, if you are yelling at your spouse because you are displacing your frustrations from work, stop, step back, and take a moment to regain control. When you find yourself engaging in maladaptive behaviors caused by displacement, try to reframe the situation and find a healthier outlet for your feelings. Make a conscious effort to redirect your negative feelings toward an appropriate target. Alternative outlets could include writing about a situation and how you felt, participating in a sport or physical exercise, or engaging in a productive hobby. A word from a psychologist. Like other psychological mechanisms of defense, displacement can be a normal and healthy way of coping with unconscious negative emotions. However, overly relying on displacement as a way to handle negative feelings can be unhelpful and even destructive, particularly if you take your frustrations out on defenseless people around you. It can be hard to recognize our own displacement. If you are concerned about how you use this defense mechanism, therapy can help you see when your actions, words, or behaviors are really a defense mechanism. Once you learn to recognize displacement, you can take steps to challenge the defense mechanism and find more effective ways to cope. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like this and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.